Hello, welcome to your reading. So, just to tell you, I'm doing an IG live just to turn up the pressure. So, yeah. All right. Let me pop this open. First problem. There you go. Okay. All right. So, Virgo, Libra rising, Sag Moon fam. Oh yeah, you're the one who yeah. Your Chiron's conjunct my moon. So, all right. I guess first things first, and where's your North Node? It's in Cancer on the midheaven. Oh, Libra risings are always the crazy ones because everything switches over. Lots of polarity when you have Libra rising. So, well, first, being Virgo, Sag, keep it basic, right? Um, third house, 12th house, Virgo sun, third house, Sag moon, conjunct Pluto. So yeah, you're born, oh yeah, baby, 2001. Oh yeah, now I remember who you are. Fuck. Australian. But I've never looked at a photo of you. I just know your username photo. So yeah. Um, okay. So basically, Sag and Virgo, two very different signs. They square each other elementally. So right off the bat, it's always good to think about what is, just from that perspective, right? What's the sun in Virgo with the Sag moon? What if you think of the sun and the moon as you are a ship with two captains, one is a sun, one is a moon. Are they going in similar directions or opposite or very different ones? And obviously it's a square, so it's very different. Um, they are both mutable. So, you are a very go with the flow gal. However, Virgo, yes, it is mutable Earth. It's in the 12th house. But yeah, a lot different than Sag. So, I would say that Virgo, my thing with Virgo is very, very odd in a good way. Like I never meet, I meet so many different types of Virgos. And some of the most spiritual people I meet are Virgos. But then there's a reputation of it being this boring, fucking always worrying OCD sign. But it's not always the case. And why is that? Because what is the opposite sign of Virgo? Pisces. And sometimes, and of course, your Virgo is in that 12th house, the house associated with Pisces. So sometimes we act more like our opposite sign, right? But yeah, I mean, Libra, your rising, and your moon and Sag would have a good connection. Um, but the split that would come, right, especially with your sun in the 12th house, would be, and I say this in so many readings, I just said in the last one, um, would be one side that needs a lot of alone time, right? 12th house suns need a lot of alone time. That is, and it's aspecting Oh, yeah, it's unaspected. Damn. Yeah, so there'd be that side. Um, more, more conservative, I guess, more measured. That's that Virgo side. Um, consistent and all that. And then the Sag side, which is like, let's fucking party and go here and go there and do this and do that. And yeah, I mean, they're just completely, different energies, right? So one's Mercury, one's Jupiter. So you look at your moon in Sag as a fellow Sag moon, you know, the moon is non-negotiable, right? The sun is the core essence of who we are, and the moon is an emotional need, right? There's no getting around that, right? So, Sag moons need to travel. If they can't travel, they need to, if they can't travel physically, they need to travel metaphorically, right? But it's a need. And especially when a Sag moon starts to feel stressed, they, like me, I'm a perfect fucking example, right? Like, so, when things get in a rut, it's a moon sign that, like, it's very, very hard for that Sag moon part of you, right, to have this level of like of just always doing the same thing. Every Sag moon, I know a lot of Sag moons. Let's say 95%, but I can only think of one actually. Um, Other ones I know are like that, right? Where it's like they're it's my favorite moon sign, honestly. And I know that sounds weird because it's my moon sign, but I would not say the same thing about like Pisces, for example, is my sun sign. But I love Sag moon. Because it's so fun, it's so optimistic and funny and light. There's just such a lightness to life. But of course, I'm so biased saying that because obviously I'm going to connect, you know, well with people who have my moon sign. But whatever. Now, very, very important though is that you have Pluto conjunct your moon, which kind of makes you have like almost like yeah, you're a Sag moon, but it's like kind of like a Sag moon with a taste of Scorpio. And we'll get more into that a little bit later, but that definitely brings some emotional intensity. And there's a lot related to the family, to the mother. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, Sag moon, your need is to, I mean, Sag moons can definitely have commitment issues, right? um it's hard for us to kind of commit to like, we don't really know who we're going to be tomorrow. So yeah, it's tough. But really, life is meant to be an adventure. And when life starts to feel a little bit stale, Sag moons, they need to go on a trip, right? Like I have a friend who's Sag moon, and she was getting very depressed, and she was like, I need to fucking travel. I need to like just go to a different country, right? So, and that's what I'm doing. So, yeah. And also having your Mars and Sag close by, it just it pushes that even more. But like a big element about Sag Moon, and maybe the part I love the most, but obviously, there's like I always say, there's different levels and manifestations of everything in astrology, but um it's just that push towards wisdom and towards really knowing, and towards philosophy. And you know, Sagittarius is a sign, of course, that they can be blunt, they can be overly opinionated, and they can attach their ego too much to their opinions and their way of thinking and their ideas and all that stuff, right? That's, but a lot, like a lot of signs and a lot of people are like that. But it's a shame when Sag is like that, right? Because Sag moon, it's here to find truth. It's here to find wisdom. And the smartest people you'll ever meet, the most wise people you'll ever meet will always be cool with being wrong. That's something I've noticed. Because if you think about it, being wrong, right? It's like, let's say you have a belief, someone um, you know, tells you otherwise, right? You either push against it and have your intellectual ego versus theirs and then whatever, or you're like legitimately thankful because like you don't own, like no one owns the truth, right? No one, like the truth is just something that is, you know it's we all have our own truth, right? But then there's also a grand truth. So I think that the closest we can get to that, and if someone can, like, I mean, that's how I look at it, right? Like if someone can help me get closer to something I consider, or just like to grand truth, like I'm thankful. I'm down to be wrong about shit, right? So yeah, just a little bit about Sag. So hmm. So one big theme just that pops out with your chart. Um, Let me just see one thing first. Oof, 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 oof. Hmm. I did not see that. Yeah, so you have so okay, so everything I just said about your Sag moon is true, but you're very young, so you're not even close to your Saturn return. It's Saturn in Gemini, born 2001. But you have Saturn opposite your moon. Now, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out, Miss Australian. But um, that's not an easy one. Um, yeah, it's not an easy one because basically I can tell you a story that happened to me. I think I was in Bosnia. It was a long time ago. I was traveling around Europe. Um, and I was staying in a hostel with this one guy. And this is like when I was first into astrology. So I was like just throwing it on every single person, like I don't give a fuck who you are. Like I'm gonna prove astrology to you, no matter how much energy it takes. So this guy was like the most, like, I'm not gonna be a hater. He was like the most boring dude ever. Like, um, and I still like got a drink with the guy, whatever. And I pulled his astrology, and like I remember like it was like he said, I think he said he was a Leo, and then his moon, fuck, forgetting this wrong. I just remember he had moon opposite Saturn, and he had his moon. I think his moon was in Leo. I forget his sun sign. But the point is, like, I'm not saying that's you at all, but and I think I definitely think females, it's different with females to males for sure with this type of thing. In my experience, 1000%. Um, you know, Females when they grow up, obviously psychologically, it's very helpful to have friendships where you're able to, talk about your emotions and perhaps, you know, do things that lead you to become more vulnerable or to have vulnerability, right? And just it's more normalized. So yeah, I see a lot of guys when they have this type of aspect where it's just not good, right? It's just like um they are very, very afraid to put themselves out there and to speak their feelings, right? But yeah, moon opposite Saturn with the sun in the 12th house. I mean, to be frank, that's kind of like tough stuff with the parents, right? I mean, I always say that I like to distance myself from saying moon is mom, sun is dad. I mean, to each their own. I'm not dissing any astrologer that does that. Um, I just haven't had much success with that, right? So I look at it more psychologically, um, where the moon to me represents just the early nurturing, just the nurturing in general. Um, So, with Saturn and moon, that your moon when you're being raised, you want this like soft, Cancerian, watery, smiley, Taurusy, like you want that energy, right? Saturn is like a very stern energy, you know, very serious. And like I think of like someone with like I can't do it right now, but like, it's like just a very I totally fucked up the look I was going for. Um, but just like a very stern look on their face, right? Not relaxed. I'm not hating on Saturn. I'm just saying in this, oh my God. Guess if anyone has seen my stories lately, I look down and it's 222. I swear it's not stopping. Has not been stopping with the 222. But anyways, that was probably the first time I looked at the clock in a minute. Anyways, so yeah, like when you're growing up psychologically, you want to have a level of warmth, right? And Saturn blocks that. And I think I'm trying to stop say I think three things. And I know that it definitely there's just a cold energy, right? There's just a cold energy that's unsupportive, non-supportive. It's definitely like up there for most challenging aspects, right? And a lot of people, but everything I'm saying to you, nothing is bad, right? Every chart I read, there's difficult aspects, right? Like I can like barely think of any that have had like nothing difficult, very few. And the point is that they're initiations. That's how I see them. If especially like if you're I mean you're so young, right? Like when I have someone come to me who's born like two after 2000 or even after 97, like that to me like something goes off, right? Because usually people that come to me are, well, I mean, I get people of all ages, but like born after 2000, it's not that many. And I feel like those, like, I'm not saying that like in an egotistical way, like, oh, if you're coming to me, blah, blah. I don't know. I just feel like there's something. I don't know. It always makes me just like think, okay, that's something, right? And like my experience with that has proven me correct, right? Like like every single person I've had that's been young, like really, really young has been amazing. And very special and very ahead because I'm not the astrologer that's gonna sit here and just tell you what you want to hear. Like I'm gonna fucking tell you um everything that I see and give you solutions also. But yeah. So where was I? Moon Saturn. Yeah. I just anything when you connect Moon and Saturn, it's melancholy. So there's a lot of potential for sadness. And just lots of obstacles when it comes to feeling that experience of being loved and yeah. So I think that having a Sag moon, like I just want to say that's like the probably one of the if not one of the most outgoing and happy moon signs one can have. So I think that definitely helps. Like it would be a lot more difficult if it was like I don't know, Pisces moon opposite Saturn or something like that. but still, right? You have to work harder to have that Sagittarian energy come out. And with Saturn, remember this: everything gets better with age. So, and it doesn't have to just be your Saturn return. The more that you start to bring awareness to these areas of your life, the better. So, yeah, don't think like it's just going to be your Saturn return when things are, this type of energy goes away. Also, yeah, just like the relationship with the moon parent, I guess I would say, like, the nurturer, usually the mother, super, important. Oftentimes with Saturn, she's strict, cold, right? And just not there for you. And it's like you think of yourself as like needing that solid root chakra and support. Um, it's like a foundation, right? That you're then building everything on that foundation. So yeah, like a lot of people with these types of aspects don't feel like they had that. And oftentimes, because Pluto is on, you have the Hades moon, which is when Pluto's, with your moon. Um, there's definitely some big ancestral thing going on here, right? So I would let me touch my magical crystal. But yeah, I would not be surprised. Actually, I would take a get I would think that in your family bloodline there is, there's something around emotions and, maybe some blockages there. And I think that when I see charts like this, I always think, okay, well, you're so young, you're coming to me. Um, you could very well be the one um to break whatever this ancestral karma is, this trend, right? Like in some families, it's not showing love, right? Not showing emotion, not showing care. It's different. Um, but yeah, I think it's kind of like so this one kind of adds kind of a Capricorn energy where, like, I was talking to my Capricorn moon friend the other day, and she said something along the lines of like how she met this friend, like spiritual friend, and it took her like 3 years before she actually like opened up to this like very good friend of hers, like really opened up, right? So that's also the struggle with Saturn and the moon, where it's just like you it's like the goal is to work as hard as possible when it comes to sharing emotions, showing them, right? And as I said before, like the first step is the awareness, that conscious awareness and realization of what's going on, right? So yeah. Um, but like I would say the main thing I've seen with this one is just, especially early in life, like a lot of like a big, yeah, just like a lot of fear of getting close to people, usually like shyness when it comes to expressing emotions, but then, Sag moon. So I'm curious when we talk live to know how that has worked, right? But it can always be somewhere in the middle. At some point it's like, more one way than the next, right? More Sag, and then at some point, but like, with Pluto involved as well, that makes you very, very aware of your from a young age, very, very, and that's probably why you're getting a reading from me at such a young age, because Pluto conjunct your moon, it's like you're this very sparky, fun person, and then like everything in your life is gonna get better at like the older you get, you know? And not to say like anything bad, like yeah, right now I don't know. It's yeah, Saturn always better with age. So yeah, so with the Pluto conjunct Moon, that as I was saying is I see it a ton of like the amount of Pluto square moon, Pluto conjunct moon I get, it's like a percent of legitimate legitimately like big percentage of my clients, right? And the mathematical odds of that are not that high. So anyone with any sense of logic who understood what I said, like that can essentially prove astrology to be real for any doubters, but the doubters won't understand what I was saying. So yeah. But anyways, okay. Um, I guess how I would describe Pluto moon is yeah, so yeah, the mother also could have been, very controlling. I have a friend who has this same thing, Sag moon conjunct Pluto. Um, there can be like lots of kind of swinging back and forth with the emotions, like mood swings, right? Like very like extremes, kind of, yeah. And it is very powerful though, right? But the power is a bit can be a little bit hidden underneath the pain and also underneath the Saturnian restrictions. So yeah, I mean, it really is one of those aspects that pushes someone to get more in touch with their unconscious and making the unconscious conscious. Um, but yeah, it's also like I said, very intuitive and it's very important to understand. And did you have Mercury square Neptune? No, that was the other chart. Neptune opposite Venus. Ooh, you're gonna get roasted. And just joking. Or am I? Maybe I'm not joking. You're gonna get roasted about that one later. Um, yeah, so that is just about like therapy, if that's, like I'm not saying go to therapy. I'm just saying like the idea of therapy, um, healing in that type of way, understanding yourself more, gaining more and more awareness of the iceberg, right? Like we only understand the very tip, and then there's all that underneath. Um, and you're more aware at a young age that there's a lot underneath that needs to be transformed. So yeah, you definitely grew up very quickly. That I would bet a lot of money on. That you agree with that statement that you had to grow up very quickly, or a lot quicker than other children. What's your Chiron? I guess it right last time. I'm not gonna be right this time, but I swear I'm God. I haven't looked. Wait, what was your Mercury? I want to say Aries or Leo. But I need to. I want to know your Mercury. But I'm afraid if I look at your Mercury, I'll see your Chiron. Wait, but your sun is Virgo. So oh yeah, your Mercury's Virgo. So mm, hmm, 12th house. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna guess Aries or Leo, but I'll probably be wrong. Let's see. Ah, so close. It was Sag. So I should have just said all the fire signs. But I knew, I mean, I knew like my guess was based on you having your Chiron in fire. I should have said that. Yo, 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 yo. But yeah. So what was I just saying? So yeah, basically, well, actually, that's very interesting to like to think about. Hmm. Yeah, well, I would say, and then it's square. Yeah, basically, just like really feeling a lot of intensity and needing at a young age to understand, okay, how am I going to deal with this? While everyone else is like being kids and all that, like you're just like, okay, I'm having to like what the fuck is this? Why do I have to grow up so fast? So fast. Um, I think also, yeah, I just seen people with this with just like very toxic parents, namely mothers, who can be like very controlling, just like over the top, even abusive, right? But the cool thing is that Pluto, on your moon, it just makes you like just super, super powerful and regenerative. Like you can get pushed down, but you always get back up, right? And then having a Sag moon, I always say Sag moon people, like we can always find a reason, an optimistic reason of even if the situation is horrible, right? And this is what's beautiful is that like you still will have that perspective, right? Like where you can be in a shitstorm, but you're able to see it from like the summit of the mountain as opposed to just being, sinking. So I also think astrology, I've seen a lot of astrologers with this type of energy, to be honest. So that could be um something very powerful for you to learn or just get involved in some way, right? And you're so young. You're so young. So, damn it. My crystal, put this on my head. Let's see if I can balance it. Oh, it's so heavy. Oof. Like legit hurts. Okay. I can't really think. Just resist, 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 resist. Okay. Let's leave this here. It's really heavy, but fuck it. Okay. So another thing that I was thinking about was boundaries, right? And what's up, shop? Um, boundaries, 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 right? So 12th house sun, right? Libra, yes, this is way too fucking heavy. Jesus. Um, Libra rising, 12th house sun, with even with the with the Sag the way it is, I mean, just sometimes Libra rising people. Oh shit, my phone's about to need to charge this shit. Oh, I can't stand up. Ugh. Come on. Phone. Stay. Stay, phone. It's got like the charger in the bottom. Okay, I guess I can move a little bit over here. Is it too sideways or is it fine? Beard is so annoying. I hate when my beard gets long. It's so scratchy. Okay. Um, so as I was saying, let me just move some. Okay, as I was saying, yeah, boundaries, watch, big need to like watch out for energy vampires. But I think that's one of the beauties of having that Pluto moon is that you have this real good intuition with people. Um, one important thing is knowing the difference between intuition and imagination, right? So that's something that's very important. But you know, I'd be very curious when we talk. I think you got the reading and follow up, right? Most do. Just check. Yeah. Cindy, feel free to chime in with anything or anyone with any input. But yeah, Libra rising it is interesting. They're very beautiful often. Nice auras. The new Venus ruled. But yeah, I mean, it's just the old adage with Libra in general, right? It can be quite people pleasing and put other people's needs before its own. It's nothing you've never heard. All right, so you have both. Okay. And if you want to add the current astrology to where it's a not just a 1 hour follow up, but 1 hour follow up, and then we move seamlessly into your current astrology, which is like 2 more hours. I would just charge 250 extra. So I'll write that down just so I have it. Um, Usually it's like three something. So yeah, it becomes a 3 hour session. It's very magical, very fun, very good, good. All right. 4 people in the chat. 4 people. 4 people, 5 people. Okay. Yeah. So mm, mm, mm. So yeah, with boundaries, it's on the physical realm, Libra, and the spiritual energetic realm, 12th house, right? And if you're always like, yeah, you don't have let's see. Yeah, you have no water in your chart. Um, Having the Pluto conjunct Moon does, you know, help in that respect. Or actually, what am I talking about? You have Venus in Cancer. Take that back. Take that back. Take that back. And you have air, you have earth, and you have every element. Um, but yeah, just in general, you are someone who needs alone time, and you really need to process through things as they come up. Um, and I think that would definitely have like, and we'll get into the relationship stuff, but just a little something right now. It's very important for you. Ooh, damn, yeah, like you 1,000% need to take things very slow and lean into that Virgo logic in relationships because yeah, like Neptune, Uranus, fifth. I know that too well, my friend, too well. And yeah, what it can do is it can create, the fifth house rules many things. So obviously, that speaks to your creativity, hobbies, children, right? Um, but when I look at it from this more romantic perspective, I think of the fifth house as like that first stage, um, when you are like just like you just meet someone, you're just interested in them, even like a one night stand, but not just that, right? That's like fifth house energy. So when you have Uranus and Neptune there, um, Neptune can kind of make you feel like you've met, especially because it's opposite your Venus, right? So that could be like the ultimate rose-colored glasses in love type vibe, right? Where you meet someone and you think they're your soulmate or whatever the fuck. And I can't say I'm not guilty of that in my life, but I also have Neptune there and Uranus also. So what Uranus does, so yeah, Neptune, I mean, it's very beautiful, right? Um, yeah, so it can just create these like just like Hollywood movie like romantic, just like boom, like super, super quick. But then the Uranus, as soon as they come, as soon as they go, or as soon as they come, they go. So yeah, and it can really, really come out of the blue too. So mm, when I relate that all back to boundaries, I just yeah, it's just really, really important to have to have your own back and to not let the narcissistic energy vampire type come in and take advantage of your empathetic nature, right? Because what's so important for you in any kind of relationship is communication of your need for alone time, right? Any 12th houser is like that. And like I said, there's this split, right? There's a part of you that wants to be alone, that wants to chill. Someone said in the chat, I have Uranus and Neptune in my fifth, and I can agree. Ha ha ha. Yeah, me too. In Placidus, and yeah. Yeah, 1000% I can agree. So it's interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, yeah, so like back to what I was saying before, like so this is like a big deal, right? Because how do you balance these two out? Your third house, Sag Moon, I know it has Pluto there. I know it has, yeah, Chiron, whatever. It's still like a part of you. And that's something I'm going to talk about more is just like you and communication, you and like the need for you to express yourself is fucking massive, right? You could be like an incredible writer, speaker, teacher. You have so much to give in that respect. Um, but like that house on its own with your moon there is very social. It's a Gemini house, the house linked to Gemini with Sagittarius planets. So, like I said, and then Libra rising, yeah, like I did say some things already about it, just, to make sure to be able to say no when you need um, to make sure that, you're not falling into any kind of codependent patterns. But at um, the same time, sorry, I scratch. Yeah, I just think that yeah, like romance is a big one, and keeping your own energy and really taking things slow, but then at the same time, yeah, like I was saying before, being able to communicate and understand that you're not weird for needing alone time, and that a lot of your best revelations will come when you're alone, right? So yeah, there's a big component in your chart about fated love, um, fated karmic love. And I think I said I would stop saying that. And the work that you're doing is having a direct impact on everything romantic. I know that's a very obvious fucking statement that works for everyone, but I mean, I see it just right in front of me right here. It's so obvious. So even with yeah, and even I'll get into that stuff a little bit later, but even with Mercury 12th house on the subject of losing, potentially losing yourself and when you're around lots of people and needing alone time, 12th house Mercury people can really, really start to think that their thoughts don't belong to them, right? And it can be tough, right? It can be tough. So yeah, just alone time, understand what your baseline energy is, you know, like say it's like a zero on the minus 10, 10, and say you're when zero, not bad zero, just like zero is your core feeling when you're just chilling you. And then when you spend time in certain environments around certain people, then let's say you go back to being alone and you're like, okay, now I feel like -3, right? So get really good at mindfulness and understanding how you are internally and how different people, places, things affect you. So that's like a big 12th house thing. But really, like, you know, 12th house suns, oftentimes, it's so like I could talk for hours about it, right? But it's a very, very karmic placement. And you're like a lot of times people with 12th house suns feel like their life is just like this loop of just like fuck, like what's happening. But then when they start to kind of give in to their soul, what their soul wants of them, not what their ego wants of them, then everything starts to stabilize. I've seen that so many times. I knew this girl in when actually it was before I moved to Romania, but this girl, and her life was crazy, right? Like, and she had so much 12th house Aries. She was like all Aries and Leo, like all everything, and it was 12th house, so she just kept having like fucked up thing after fucked up thing happen until she started becoming very spiritual. And I swear, like everything about that girl changed. Um, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm happy that you enjoyed the message. Yeah, I feel like I had to put that out. Um, so many people are struggling right now, and it's insane the stories I've heard. So yeah. Okay. So hold on, actually, one second. I want to check one thing actually. Break my train of thought. Yeah. Anyways, oh damn. Yeah, there's so God, I'm like just blown away by how much in your chart is just like faded romance stuff. It's insane. Your vertex around your descendant, 29-degree Venus, right? Um, there's more. Even like Venus, Neptune, and let's see the nodes, node squares. Let's check. 3 cardinal. Ooh. So your nodes are square the ascendant and descendant axis. Interesting. Hmm. Huh. Well, so yeah, and I'll wrap back around to what I was saying, but yeah, from like a karmic perspective, right? Your north node is in Cancer, right? So the north node is where you're trying to get to in this lifetime, like the metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives. South node is the been there, done that. So your south node is on the IC at the bottom of the chart, while your north node's on the MC. So, but it's in Cancer, so they're in opposite signs. Um, so basically, you're trying to like a bit like okay, first of all, there can be a um recent gender switch. I see that a lot with this axis. There can be like some people with this like they resonate more with the opposite sex. Um, but I'm not saying that's like a for sure thing or anything. But the big thing is that you're trying to balance your work life slash dharma slash just everything that's public in the outside world. You're trying to balance that with your home life, with your family life, with your internal emotional life, right? Because there has been an imbalance. But in my interpretation, it's not it's kind of like one lifetime you're too much in that in like the kind of 10th house career, like outer, and then the next one and you're more in the inner, right? So it's really about getting that balance well. Now, the square with the descendant and ascendant is interesting, and I'm going to ponder it for a second. And it's conjunct Jupiter, which is amazing. Yeah, so having Jupiter conjunct the North Node is so nice. Um, because it basically is just speaking to the importance of you embracing adventure and the need to find higher truth, right? So you're really here to kind of like open up your worldview more and more and just continue to learn, right? And that's why you're so young and you're already like super 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 ahead. um I think. I mean, I don't know anything about you, but yeah. So yeah, I think traveling, teaching, all parts of your destiny. And I think the fact that it's in Cancer in the 10th is just like really speaking to you having an important, very important mission, right? Like with your career, your dharma. Um, and it's in Cancer, so like, I don't like to say career because like it could be for some people their dharma, it changes at different times in your life, but for some people it's being a mother, right? And Cancer is the sign of nurturing. But I would think that with everything else I'm seeing that it's more around being a healer. But I think a lot of it is about you being able to tap into your, your 12th house energies, right? So, and the thing about Virgo is that Virgo can be very, very self-critical, as you sure you know. So, um, leaning into Pisces, and it's interesting you have your Black Moon Lilith in Pisces. But like one of the best things anyone can do is, especially if you have a lot of energy in one sign, is to look at the opposite sign, the high vibration of that opposite sign, and then learn and then add that to your life. So for example, for you with Virgo, with your Virgo sun, right? What's the high yeah, Virgo can worry too much. It can think it's here and other people are here when really it's here and other people are here, per se. But yeah, it can, like I always tell very Virgo, I had a client today actually who was 4 planets in Virgo, very nice girl. And I always tell people with Virgo and just in general, like every single day there's a million reasons to worry. Like we're very creative humans. Like we can literally come up with a million reasons to worry, complain, to future trip, blah blah blah. So what Virgo needs to borrow from Pisces, and what how you can implement this is, Pisces, for better or worse, just kind of goes with the flow, and they're just like, all right, fuck it, hopefully this works out. Um, but they have, not all, right? Um, but there is this faith, right? This kind of blind faith in the divine, right? And it's interesting because Virgo is very spiritual often, but then they worry a lot. They can get really sucked into fear. So, but then on the flip side, Pisces can be too much into like, oh yeah, it's just gonna work out, blah blah blah, and then they just forget all the details, and then they're just like, oh shit. So both, every opposite sign needs to learn from one another, is the moral of the story. But that's kind of how you can lean into your Pisces energy. Um, and also Pisces energy, represents intuition, and it rules your 6th house. So, you know, speaking about, what you might want to do for work, um, if you haven't decided yet, well, you know, Neptune rules your 6th house. 6th house is your day to day. Neptune is spirituality, compassion, and it's in your 5th, right? So I don't know. Could be working with kids, being someone who is a healer in a way that helps people reconnect with their inner child. Um, or, art therapists. Um, I mean, it's really endless, right? It's endless at the end of the day. And, having your midheaven with your north node at 1 degree away from each other in Cancer, that's just speaking to you being someone who's here to nurture the world, right? And you have all these past life talents that you kept too close to home in some way. So in this life, it's about still finding that balance, right? Like I was saying, between the external and the internal, but not being afraid to take those talents into the world. And when you do that, Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, is going to be by your side, giving you a fuck ton of luck and help. Like Jupiter in the 10th house. Also, I've seen it a few times, this is kind of interesting, right? Imagine if like I was correct about this, but like 12th house sun oftentimes is a father who is physically or metaphorically unavailable, right? But then a lot of times I see Jupiter on the midheaven with like people who have very, very successful or strong parents. So I don't know. I mean, like regardless of anything, it is an excellent placement, but um yeah, a lot of times that like one of your parents, one or both, uh, yeah, hold like a pretty prominent role in society. Um, so yeah, who knows? Maybe there's very successful parents, but not really there emotionally. I don't know. But anyways, um, Jupiter 10th house conjunct midheaven is amazing, and you will receive recognition. You just have to follow Cancer, which is your heart, right? So making sure that what you're doing is coming from soul, metaphysical value, right? Not ego, materialistic value. That's the most important. And if you do that, all will be amazing. So yeah. Um, and then so you have the two best planets, right? So I made a post about this a while ago. If you have Venus and Jupiter in the same house, like that house is money, and it's the 10th house. Your fucking career Dharma house has both Jupiter and Venus in the same sign of Cancer. So you, my friend, you have nothing to worry about, and even you have Venus at the billionaire degree, which I don't know. That's maybe you're about to be a real estate mogul. Who knows? Because Venus also represents moolah, money, and you know, even 12th house. So like a lot of like big politicians are 12th housers. So yeah. But anyways, backtracking a bit. So I'm gonna try so hard to keep this to a 90-minute reading. If I do that, I'll be so proud of myself. Um, let's see. So aspects, yeah. So we talk about that. I like your moon with Mars, moon square Mercury. Okay, this one is important, right? So Mercury is in Virgo. So, also like anxiety is something. I think like, you can definitely pick up on other people's energy, which can bring you anxiety. Virgos, are people that tend, it's common for them to have anxiety. So, yeah, Moon square Mercury can make someone very indecisive, especially having a Libra rising, right? So the key to this is to what I create what I call a constitution of yourself, where you have values and you stick to them, you make your decisions based off of that, right? But really what happens here is that the moon, the emotions, the feelings are at odds with Mercury, the brain, the thoughts. So, it's like how do you compromise between um, those two? And it's like, a very logical mind, even though it's in the 12th house. So it's kind of a mix of logical and abstract, but and then an emotional nature that's just very philosophical, anything is possible, not ruling anything out. So yeah. Um, so I talked about Moon and Pluto, right? Just the extreme highs and lows. Sometimes people with that love they unconsciously love drama, and it's important to channel that into like a creative or physical outlet. But then with Chiron, so Moon conjunct Chiron, Yeah. So I mean, I would be very surprised if you had a easy relationship with your mother. I've seen things like that where it had improved, right? But there's a lot of tough aspects here. But yeah, just psychologically, because like yeah, I've literally seen charts where like I was like it was like everything was like hard aspect of sun and moon, but then she was like cool with her parents. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. Uh, but yeah, that just shows like the free will, right? Um, so and healing, right? So yeah, with Chiron, Moon and Chiron is a beautiful placement. I mean, like, yes, it does speak of a lot of suffering and usually it's the mother, like I said, feeling rejected, not good enough, not lovable. Um, but what can happen, is that it can create someone who, first of all, natural healer, right? This is like amazing for that, and someone who can understand people on such a deep level, right? That all walks of life, because of your experiences, you just get it. You just get people, and that's like the main thing you need to be a healer, right? Like you see some of these like love and light people, nothing against anyone, right? I'm just saying, like, I know some people who are very spiritual, and they're they're very good people, but they just haven't really been through it. And I think that, or they let me rephrase, like, they haven't been through it recently. Like, I know a number of people who have gotten, which is great, get so into spirituality, um but everything in their life has become so perfect that I've noticed that they've sort of lost touch with the people who are struggling, right? And I mean, like, what are they supposed to just like fuck themselves up to be able? But I don't know. I just think that all these aspects point to someone that, regardless of how good things do get for you, you'll always be able to be in touch, right? Wow, sounds like my chart. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. Let's see here. Yeah, so I think Moon Chiron people. Also, by the way, anyone watching, on my website, I reduced all the prices, and for my teaching, I do one-on-one. I've never done this before. I just added a pay-as-you-go option to where you can pay for one class at a time. Um, so yeah, anyone interested can DM me, or don't DM me, DM me or email me at jesseannisonastrology@gmail.com. Okay, back to the reading. And I'm going to also be reposting this, I'm pretty sure. I think I'll repost this if I feel happy about it. Okay, where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? What's my train of thought? Train of thought. Train of thought. Robot, robot, robot. I was talking about Chiron. Yeah. So Chiron and Moon, yeah, just like, yeah, like I was saying before, giving, giving, giving. So making sure that, like, the give and take in your life, or the give and receive, that there's an even ratio. Because it's common for people with this to give, 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 and then they receive very little. So, yeah, it goes back to boundaries, right? Put it like, Libra rising, like, wanting to make sure that everything is balanced well, right? Um, Everything is balanced well. So, they put themselves down sometimes. So it's like at the expense of themselves, just to make sure that everything is all balanced. Um, yeah, I love 12th house Mercury people. I've met so many like super psychic or just intuitive people who have that. And you know, it's on the nebula, which is a star that's very linked to esoteric knowledge and um you know, things like astrology, the mysteries of the world. So who knows? Maybe you might be my young student. Never know, never know, never know. Um, okay. So, my young prodigy. Um, okay. Yeah, so moving forward, so okay, so I said that. So, um, so we have your son. That's interesting. It's very rare, unaspected sun. Is that for sure? So three, is there no quincunx? Young prodigy. Uh, sun opposite black and blue. I mean, it's not a planet, but so yeah, I mean, let me just make sure there's no quincunx or anything like that. Hmm. I mean, the North node is exactly sextile your sun, but that's not a planet either. But yeah, I mean, I might as well talk about that. Um, yeah, that's just about just really like expressing yourself authentically in this lifetime. And yeah, just like really kind of coming in terms with your identity and your authentic self, right? So yeah, and I think it just speaks to like what I've been talking about the need for you to express yourself through your profession and just kind of how you have like this message that needs to be heard that in past lives you've probably held yourself back from getting out there because of where your south node is, right? Kind of stayed too close to home in some way. So yeah, you're here to be a healer, 1,000%. Um, am I going to beat the 90-minute? Okay, 15, 17 minutes. I probably won't do it. We'll see. One person is in here. Hello, hello. Okay. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're fortunate. I mean, you can even like meet. I don't know if you're single or not, but you could even meet like a lover, um, in your work, you know, or like just when you're like just doing your thing career wise. Um, I'm a scratchy. Um, but yeah, it's amazing, like the energy for your career. So wherever that takes you, you know, whatever you feel really, really connected to, just follow that. Follow that. All right. Um, mm, 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 mm. mm. Wait, am I tripping? Bianca Lazar. I swear. Are you Romanian, Bianca? I swear I know that name rings a bell. I swear. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Um, okay. So let's see. Okay. So Mercury. So yeah, so also Mercury, so yeah, Mercury is square Mars too. So that's kind of like the same thing as similar to the Mercury square moon, but it's more about just kind of difficulty with like people I've noticed with that, like they're just like um lots of thoughts, like boom, 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 boom. It's kind of hard to concentrate and whatnot, and they can be very talkative. So it's just really important to ground themselves, and to have that self awareness. Um, mm, yeah, I want to talk about this, right? Oh yeah, I remember what I was looking at. Um, but yeah, so having Black Moon Lilith in Pisces is very interesting, right? Um, Black Moon Lilith, think of it like you at your worst, right? It's just best we all have our us at our lowest vibrations. And yeah, it's something that can, be switched, but that's how I've always thought about Black Moon Lilith. Like I have mine in Scorpio, and yeah, and what house it's in is like where that can show up, right? So where'd it go? Where'd it go? So yeah, yours is in the chassis sixth um house, although it would probably be fifth house in Plastis. Let me pull this in Plastis. Oh shit. Oops, no. I'm gonna pull this in Plastis. Slash, where did that? But regardless, Black Moon Lilith in Pisces. To me, that is escapism and running away from just yeah, just being like too much of a hermit, running away from emotions, or just the low energy of Pisces is that person that also just doesn't believe in themselves, right? That doesn't believe that they can do it, and doesn't see themselves clearly, right? They're confused. Their self-image is all fucked up. So, like I finish that sentence at the start, like when I was gonna tell you that, like, that person with, like, I met, like, did I start that story and just stop about, like, that girl I know? Sorry, guys. Fuck. I'm a bit tired. But basically, yeah, like I think I finish it? Either way, she was like so fucked up. Her life just went crazy. I guess I kind of did. But like when she got spiritual, and started like everything changed in her life. And that is like a very, very typical thing for a 12th house person, 12th house sun, Mercury, right? Now you don't have like so much in the 12th house, but like that's still enough, right? So like the 12th house is a very karmic house, for that's one of the main reasons it is, right? It's because like for many people, life can be this just like fucking like oh cycle, like oh my God, is it ever gonna fucking stop? And then when you do things from the heart, it's like almost like a divine payback. And then God sees that and he's like, all right, he or she. I wish there's a new pronoun for God. whatever. But yeah, um, that is very, very important. This is such a cool thing. You guys like it? You like it? I put it on my head again. Oh, it's so fucking heavy. Maybe do this with smaller crystals. See if I can balance it. Oh shit. I had it there. I could probably do it, but not with this headset on. All right. So yeah, yeah, Black Lilith and Pisces definitely another thing I could see with that. It's just like such a sensitive soul that yeah, they can kind of just like hide, you know? And also like not want to express their emotions. And as we talked about before, and then also they might not want to fully accept, their emotional nature, which can be shying away from potential deep connections, right? Because they believe that like there's something unstable about themselves. And that's such a Virgo thing to like be super perfectionist and hard on oneself. Like every Virgo I talk to has that pretty much, right? And you know, I love Virgos, right? And yeah, it's like they observe so much. Virgo people, they observe so much. It's like almost too much sometimes. And it's like, how can they find that flow, right? Like that's like what I think is important for Virgo. It's like, how can that, you know, how can you find that flow? Hold on, let's see it. Percentage being charged to 14. Right. Whatevs. Um, so well, I was gonna say something else. Yeah, and like I'd say also like yeah, like potential for escapism and just like yeah, not wanting to deal with yeah, with the emotions and whatnot. So yeah, I said this a lot earlier, right? Just the need to yeah, just to be vulnerable, to speak your emotions and to feel them and speak them, you know. That's the magic with a lot of your aspects. Um, and then it's in the sixth, right? So that could indicate, that could be at work. Um, it could be with your just your day-to-day routine. I mean, I already said, you know, sixth house is, you have it ruled by Pisces, just your day-to-day. Neptune's in the fifth. So, hmm. Wonder how I'm curious. And that's why I wanted to pull Placidus. Remember, I was like, I want to pull Placidus. But I guess one thing that could be. Oh, okay, I have an idea about that. it could just be about like the need to learn to have boundaries with work and say no with respect to work. Um, or it could be like some Virgo escapism, workaholicism, like where it's like the addiction to work, right? Um, like overloading yourself with work in an attempt to feel good about yourself type thing, right? So I think, yeah, I think it's really linked to your health, right? Like just the importance. Oh, now I got it. Because Pisces is the emotion. So it's speaking to like how important your emotions and you letting your emotions like psychosomatics, um, how we hold different emotions in different parts of our body, how important that is for you to let those out for your actual physical health. So yeah. Okay. Um, okay. Talk about that. Talk about that. Okay. So love, 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 love. Where am I fucking aspect? Oh, yeah. Let me pull this in classes for a little bit. Fifth house. No, still sixth. Oh, yeah. Like nothing changes. Holy shit. Damn. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. Is that the first chart I've ever seen that okay, one thing changes in your entire chart. Venus goes from 10 to 11 from one system to the other. That's crazy. A lot of people's like everything changes one house. Um, okay. Mm-mm-mm. So, so, okay. Mm, yeah, so also I didn't talk about Mercury square Chiron, did I yet? No, I talked to the other ones, but yeah. So when it squares, so yeah, so basically your Chiron is in Sagittarius. We'll talk about love in a sec, but so the pain there, right? Is and it actually connects perfectly to your Saturn ninth house, right? Where it's around beliefs and you believing that you are it's not because Gemini Mercury would be more about intelligence, but in Sagittarius, it's more about philosophy and big picture and um sort of feeling lost when it comes to that, right? Like feeling insecure about what you believe in. Um Maybe you had like these ideas, they're just way different than the people around you, right? And you get flack for that or something like that. But really, it's actually really, really good. And the fact that's in the third house could indicate like early schooling having been quite painful or anything with siblings. But yeah, the fact that you have your moon in the third house is very, very good indicator of intelligence. And it just is like also just like that need to communicate that, like I was saying before, like you have one party that wants to be super introverted and one part that needs to communicate. So that's kind of like a big thing for you is finding that balance. Um mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I think like Pluto third house, love it. Just basically in this lifetime, you're here to find the information on your own, the data, right? You're not here to just like believe things at face value. Like you're here to really, really come in and find the data on your own, right? Because in past lives there was some consequences, right? Where you, let's say, believe something blindly, and then yeah, there's some type of consequence. So you're really, really obsessed with the truth, and that's also amazing for research. You can become super, super addicted research wise. Your mind, when it becomes like obsessed with something, or into, yeah, when it becomes interested in something, it can just like become obsessed, right? And yeah, like, and with all those planets there, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you have siblings, but if you do, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of crazy energy there. I mean, Mars, Chiron, Pluto, Moon, all in the third. Yeah. Or your neighbors. I don't know. But yeah, early schooling also kind of like that early developmental period, right? Um, that yeah, there's something there that at some point you have to look at, right? Um, yeah. So okay, okay. Hmm. Eyes red. Yeah. Okay. Tired. I look tired physically, but not mentally. Although I will sleep after this. But anyways, 132. Fuck. But anyways, okay. So, mm, mm, mm. Yeah. So I was saying, so the Chiron there, it connects perfectly with it with the Saturn in the ninth house, right? So you might feel Saturn in Gemini in the ninth. You could feel restricted when it comes to like truly exploring like the big picture meaning of life, philosophy, traveling, doing the things that your Sag moon really wants to do. That could be really, really frustrating as a Sag moon to have a Saturn ninth house for the first 30 years, right? Um, but so like I literally said this last reading, like a lot of like astrologers and people like that have ninth house Saturns, I've noticed. And because ninth house is about truth, and it can give them this like real deep interest and ability to really organize themselves when it comes to trying to acquire truth, which leads them into these types of careers. Mm, Whatevs. Mm, 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 mm. But yeah, I mean, I think, and then yeah, I just feel like, yeah, like with the Mercury square Chiron, Saturn and Gemini, yeah, probably like I was saying, like just um early on, maybe believing that you weren't intelligent, or yeah, that there was something wrong with the way you thought. I see this in so many of my fucking clients in different ways. It's insane, right? And it's just because you guys are all amazing, like little just outside the box thinkers, and we live in a society where we're very boxed in and told to be a certain way. So yeah, it's all about like learning to value yourself, and you know through that, value of yourself and your own unique way of seeing the world and thinking, then you're able to really help a lot of people and share that wisdom. But with Chiron in general, you're definitely someone who is a great listener and yeah, who can understand people from all different walks of life. And you have three, yeah, you have Chiron with Mars, with Moon, and square Mercury. So yeah. Okay, so I talked about this, talked about that, talked about this, talked about that, talked about that. So we're making our way to the love, but I was kind of saving that for the finale. Um, I wanted to just see one thing. Mm, 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 mm. Trying to think what that would do. Is that even like Lilith opposite Sun? I mean, I guess you know, I think like that would just really be about the importance of like yeah, trusting your intuition. Um, but then there can be some like issues or challenges around that very thing. And then like Lilith, there's also like a bunch about sexuality too, embracing that. Um, I mean, I guess the way I would think of it is like just like societal stigma is like how you're supposed to be and just like how like kind of just like trying to find the balance between not being like a complete fucking like crazy person, um right, but then also being true to yourself and your own individuality. um yeah, I can't think of it. I really can't think of much with that one. It seems badass though, creative. 12th has Sun in Virgo opposite sixth house, Pisces, Black. Mm, yeah, just yeah, I think what I said was probably like the best that I'm gonna come up with. Um, see what my program says. Society can be seen as overly patriarchal and oppressive, so there can be an inner battle which is then projected onto boogeymen in the outside world. What? Identifying with the sun can sometimes result in being a shining example of goodness, as opposed to identifying with Lilith, where you can become an utter social outcast. Sometimes the division can play out in external life as wife versus mistress, or in having to choose between parents in a divorce. What? These people sometimes have a pronounced sexuality and are lustful and dismissive of cultural norms. That's kind of a sexy one, I guess. When the two polarities are successfully channeled, the native is able to crystallize their creativity and become commercially successful. Okay. I don't know. What the fuck? Oh, wait. Was that? Wait, why is there another one? Okay, whatever. I'm not sure about Sun opposite Lilith. Oh, look. See what it says on Google. You may have to struggle to trust your instincts, especially when your anger is triggered. You may not be comfortable with your sexuality or identity until you trust your intuition and creativity and demand respect. You can find power through obstacles and come to embrace your passions and power because you had to fight for self-acceptance and for what? And for the right to have your voice heard. You may bear the wounds and traumas of some kind of stigma related to your identity or sexuality. In time, you may have to choose between honoring your unique style and identity and trying to appease others by blending in with the background, even when you try to stay silent, it never works. That's what I said. You can't help expecting recognition, acceptance, and praise for your talents and brilliance. You can't help expecting recognition, acceptance, and praise for your talents and brilliance, even when you try to tone it down and conform to others' expectations, your frustration only boils over the point where you just have to let the world know who you are and what you won't be, and that you won't be stifled. All right. There. There. Even read something. Okay. So very close to done. Looks like I'll be under 2 hours. So Mars. Oh, you have Mars sextile Uranus. It's a nice one. Um, I like it. Keeps things fun. Good for expressing that authentic energy, individualistic energy. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay, so we didn't really talk about Mars and Chiron, did we? Um, but yeah, basically, like it's just it's just a lot of people with that, like they feel like the world's conspiring against them, like they didn't get their way when they're younger. Um, and yeah, it's all about just focusing on the world, the world's needs, and um, just healer energy, you know. So, but yeah, sometimes also it can feel like it'd be really, really good with that aspect to do physical exercise and get out there and get really confident in your body, especially with a fire Mars like you have. And even like, with your Mars in the third house, that's someone who can state their ideas and thoughts like very firmly. Um, and there could be clashes with siblings, as I said before. But Mars and Sag, just the person, the adventure, the person that just goes towards the adventure, that goes towards you know the learning and all that. So it's just interesting. It's very interesting. When we talk, I definitely want to know about like how that ninth house Saturn is or is not holding back all your Sag energy. Like I hope you've been able to travel, because like that could like block, for example, like higher education, traveling, um, really, really getting into the right teachings. So it's like brilliant that you're like getting this right now. I pray, I pray that you'll be able to be one of my students. I just have such a good feeling about your chart. And even like, hold up, wait 1 second. What am I seeing? See, if I was ignorant, I would be like, damn, she has a um, mystic rectangle and what looks like the name of the aspect pattern, but it's not because you cannot use the nodes or any angles in aspect patterns. It's only planets, planetary points. But 12, unfortunately. Okay. So, anyways, we'll finish up. So you have yeah, so love, obviously Sag moon, you need the exploration, but with the Pluto there and the Chiron, you definitely need to be able to go deep with your partner, but you need them to be, your adventure buddy as well, right? Um and you have to be able to connect on that philosophical level. Um and it can't be someone who's boring, right? There's just no way it would work with someone boring. Well, who does want someone boring? And let's see. Um, yeah, like Sajman sometimes, like me, like date people from other countries. Um, Even like moving out of the country you're from, like it could be an amazing experience for you as a Sajman. And I should probably charge whatever. Hopefully it doesn't die. And let's see. Um, yeah, Venus, 29 degrees, lots of fate related to your love life. Um, you know, you could get a big, a lot of a windfall of wealth. Um, at some point in your life. I think that like with your like life purpose, there's different phases to it, but like I said, the most important thing is that you're following your heart and just knowing that the universe is going to support you 1,000% when you're doing that. And I want to see the asteroids after this, and we'll be done. But yeah, 29 degrees, like just lots, in Venus in Cancer, right? It's like just really, really need that like strong emotional bond with your partner and with your friends, right? And like I feel like Venus and Cancer, like they love their families so much, um, but they also have this emotional need for financial stability, right? It's important to Venus in Cancer. They want to have they value, a nice home, a nice nest. And 29 degrees, that adds kind of like a level of fate and got to get it right in this lifetime. And I relate that more to you and self-esteem than because that's just, love life stuff is just a projection of that. And wait, did I hold up? And I have not even looked at your email yet. So we can pull that up. So anybody can go on my website, link in my bio. Anybody who's watching this now, all three people currently, or um, anyone who watches, if I do post it, which I probably will. Although I don't like how my eyes look. Guys, do my eyes look like bad? I feel like my if I turn the lights on, they look better. I slept like I went to bed so late. I did so many readings last night, and then I had like a session early today, or not early, but like early enough today. And I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep well either. I didn't just like hit the bed and sleep. Okay, so here she is. She's saying, "Oh, asteroids." Okay, perfect. I was just gonna go there. Yeah, asteroids. So, okay, I'm gonna explain some to you, my little Australian. You're not little, but well, maybe you are. Um, okay. Intrigued by the house that my natal planets reside into in my Venus placements, I should agree. Yeah, so here comes a little TED talk from my perspective. I'm not big on degree theory. Um, it doesn't mean I don't I guess like the jury's still out. Like I'm not shitting on it, but I think it's very misleading. How do I say this? Like it it matters like in my experience like yeah, it can add a little bit of flavor. Like 29 and 0 like yeah. And people and 22 like also, with your Mercury there, right? Um, but like I don't really I never really was that interested in saying like okay, because you have your sun at 3 Virgo, that would give you an energy of Gemini, right? Like because to me it's just details that in my mind don't really 5% battery don't really necessarily I just have never found them that important, to be honest. And like I've looked into it a little bit, and I see how like it can add a little bit of flavor, but I think in astrology the most important thing is to understand the most important stuff, because there's so many things like in a lot of the asteroids, um yeah, like the main asteroids, yeah. And there's some of them that I work with that I've proved, because I'm self-taught. So like everything that obviously I've read like a million books and talked to a million people too. Hold on, how do I get this to work with this charger? Sorry guys. Um stay solid. No, trying to get my phone positions. Actually, I can go like this. That's smart. Okay, we'll go like this. That okay. So yeah, I just like to me it's like with degrees, I don't know. I think that like when I teach astrology, for example, like I'm all about explain like teaching you the hierarchy of what's really important, what's kind of important, or like what's really important, what's kind of important, what's you know like there's a million things. I'm not saying like degrees don't like matter. It's just like, you know, like I haven't seen it enough. And I think it matters a million times more, for example, the aspects and the sign they're in and the connections they make to the whole general theme of the reading of the chart. But yeah, 29 degree, obviously, like that is massive. And you know, like my view on 29 degree Venus, and then your sun being unaspected too, right? Um, but like, yeah, it's a very important degree, right? And there's a lot of fate. It's like the degree of fate, right? What's it called? The anaretic degree. So I would say that um like just with like yeah, like it just makes so much sense because it's like Venus is how much you value yourself, and then relationships. So I think you just will have like, yeah, like a lot of really karmic relationships, um, and like a lot of fate, um, in respect to that. So, but also like some people would say like, the highest degree is like, you're what is it, like a very, very like mature, strong planet. So, Venus, like perhaps it's like, you know, you're like well equipped to kind of deal with those karmic issues as they come up, right? And there can be like, yeah, lots of like challenges, like which I've already shown with the aspects, right? Around valuing yourself, right? Um, and did you have any yeah, isn't this crystal awesome? I was putting on my head before. I'm not gonna try to do it again. Um, so yeah, I would say that yeah, I mean like some people talk about 20 degrees like crisis, and just kind of how like in this incarnation like you're trying to really really get it right with respect to, like it's like lots of tests, and it can be a great gift. So maybe it's something, like a creative um gift in that respect, right? um so yeah, so with Venus, I think like, yeah, there can be like different crises in love. Venus is also money, um stuff of that. um like I know, doesn't who had like a 29-degree Venus? I think is it Marilyn Monroe? I think I could be wrong, but like a lot of like, yeah, let me search who has 29-degree Venuses. Yeah, so yeah, Angelina Jolie. There you go. And she has it the same as you at 29 Cancer. Mozart, Elvis Presley, Cindy Crawford, Walt Disney, um, and yeah, Marilyn Monroe. So Monica Lewinsky. Don't go that way. Don't go that route. Just joking. Um, so Stalin. Don't go that route. Um, Dua Lipa, Joe Biden. Um, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my take on that. Um, and then also like having an aspected sun, right? Um, beside, yeah, like it doesn't aspect anything. So that is interesting. Because like it's like there's no checks and balances. So sometimes people with unaspected suns, their egos can kind of run crazy. Um, Sometimes they feel like they just like don't fit in. Um, so yeah, I would say like learning to like assert yourself is really important. Boundaries again. Um, a lot of times, the father wasn't that present, and it's in the 12th house, so that makes perfect sense too. Um, so that's another like, clue of that. And yeah, I guess yeah. Sometimes I think people with that can like get into a mode where like they only are trusting themselves, right? So like learning, yeah, to open up and trust other people. It's huge. Um, but yeah, like it is really, really a lot about kind of like self-discovery and yeah, I feel like it's just kind of yeah, gotta watch the let me just look at the email you sent again. Yeah, because like you said, like talent and you Tepi, like like honestly, like my thing with asteroids like that, it's like I'm like pretty logical in that sense where I'm like, okay, who discovered the asteroid, right? What's the proof that I've gotten? Um, like sometimes I just think about like asteroids. I'm like, was it some random astronomer that just like named it something, you know? Like a lot of like the new ones, right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the hierarchy, right? Like asteroids like that, like there's like so many of them. So like it doesn't matter what sign, for example, you have like random asteroid in because there's like what tens, hundreds of thousands of fucking asteroids. So um yeah, as you said, like the ones that are conjunct planets are important, but like um I only work with I only think that like uh, I have like a list of fixed stars and asteroids that I look at um that I've kind of proven to have significance. And I'm not saying that I'm not shitting on those ones. It's just that I don't believe that at this point, they're so important. Um, but yeah, um, it doesn't, like, and that's how I am, like, the Sag Moon. Like, I'm not saying that like that will be my opinion forever, but like they're like just with so many of these like random ass asteroids, like I'm like no, like I don't know. But in Uranian astrology, it's very, very much based on that. So yeah, I guess it's just a different way of looking at it. But let's see what you have. So of course, yeah. So the last aspect we'll talk about is yeah your Venus opposite Neptune, which I think I said some words about that before, but like I talked about how like in love, it can just be very very you know like fall like just these like insane love affairs that just like happen like boom like holy shit um like twin flame blah blah blah, and then um it's just really about taking things slow in that realm because there'll be like lots of tests, and the last thing you want to do is get yourself in a relationship where you think someone's perfect and you ignore red flags. That's kind of what it is with Venus Neptune, right? It's just like kind of rose colored glasses in love, and you know it can kind of like create like a lack of discernment when it comes to personal relationships, right? Like getting caught in the fantasies of the potential of how that person can be as opposed to like the reality of who they are, right? Because as a very empathetic person, you're seeing all like that person's higher self, right? But might not be who they are at this current time. So yeah, like a lot of people with that like can get deceived and um just like put too many eggs in that basket like too early. But at the same time, Venus in any connection to Neptune, that is like so creative, that energy, right? That's like an energy of like imagination, inspiration, Neptune, and creativity, Venus. So, you know, even if it's not opposition, it is, very, very, it's very romantic, and it's also, you know, really enabling you. Like I always say, like with Van Gogh, like it's like, he had to have the Neptunian imagination to think of like the starry night painting. And then Venus was like his ability to actually paint it, right? So yeah, you could be very gifted in the arts for sure. And even like having those fifth house placements, it's like, it can just get very, it can, the way I look at it is like, with Neptune, just, yeah, really, really strong artistic nature having Neptune in the fifth house, right? On its own. And being able to like create through your intuition when you just let go, right? And then with Uranus, it can just be more of like a kind of not eccentric, but just like yeah, just very outside the box, unconventional, um, kind of creative, like how you are creatively, I guess. Um, okay, so let's see here. Yeah, and then there's just more about just like how being of service, like um and just like really, really like owning yourself, like your doorway to higher awareness is like really, when you're of service to the world and to yourself, like to your day-to-day routine, like just really like having everything, with your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, on a day-to-day basis, right? um Dialed in. But then also really like Aries, like being your own person, being firm in yourself, independent, not needing anyone but you. And that's not to say like to run away from connections. It's just like kind of like what I would say like the opposite of codependency, right? Okay. So now we can look at, yeah. Um, yeah, and even like Vest in the Eighth, that's just like giving more clues about like how you just want to like, probe deep into the metaphysical secrets of the world. And um yeah, and that could, you know, speak to like the type of work you would do. And Series down there with your part of fortune, and Cap. I think that Sirius, I look at that as like kind of like a second moon, but obviously not as important. So in Capricorn, yeah, just really wanting to, yeah, just very ambitious, and really feeling that sense of, just feeling very, very good when you're giving back, and when you're doing something that really, really, you know, where you're really, really reaching your goals and doing something that is great for society and the world. And fourth house is just like more about like just really caring for your family, whether that's your family of origin or, um, you know, the family that you've, formed one day as a mother. Um, and then yeah, part of fortune is there too in the fourth house in Cap. So to me, that is just, once again speaking about that nodal balance of, you know, uh, outer and inner, right? And just like how by, building that like real, like that like really, really that self-worth, that real spiritual relationship with yourself, how that is the best thing for you. And that's when you're at your flow state, right? And a lot of that comes through, mastering any insecurities you have, and just, yeah, just being in touch with your inner self, and kind of like detaching from the expectations of other people, as we said before. All right. I love Palace and Sag because that's like someone who can like just really see the big picture. I always think of it like it's like the chess player, um, who, yeah, and second house, that's good for money, right? Um, Being very creative when it comes to not just money, but just, yeah, like Yeah, like also like yeah, just like really like your authentic self and like really valuing, you know, you and how you are different and you're like I made a post the other day that was about how we, you know, by us living in line with our design, right? Our astrological design to the fullest, that you know that's like that provides an example to everyone else who sees us, right? When we're living true to ourselves, true to our astrological natal chart, that's when you know you are an example. You know, people see you manifesting the high energies of everything in your chart, and you know that helps people on its own. Okay, so let's do the final stage here. How long have I gone? 2 hours 11. Jesus Christ. I never keep it under that. So let's pop open my asteroids and stars. And I'm going to pass the fuck out. Okay, I need to like look close. If you guys could see what I was looking at, I can show the live and you guys will be like, how the fuck do you know what's what? Yeah, it's like a million. Oh god, it's just stick again. Happy New Year to you too. I hope it's a great year for everyone. Okay, so I have to like stare at these. So ascendant. I need to go to whole sign actually. Okay. Yeah, so I told you have the nebula with Mercury, which is yeah, just all about like truth seeking, like occult, like you know, really wanting to like understand the secrets of the universe. I said that earlier. Um, and then it's over here. Mm, yeah, and just like even having your vertex like conjunct the ascendant, that just is another, like I said, like you know, big time indicator of your relationships, romantic, BFF relationships, business partnerships, clients, if you do work like this, just really opening up the door to higher awareness. Um, let's see. God, it's that one. Yeah, so I'm not seeing many. So yeah, like I was saying, there is a million asteroids, and that's kind of like why like I'm so passionate about teaching astrology, because like there's just so much out there on Instagram, and like one of the biggest traps people can run into is to think like, oh, um, this random fucking asteroid is, as you know, that I have conjunct my, I don't know, Mars or something, is as important as, um I don't know, like a Venus opposite Neptune. Like it's like a million times more important. I want to look at one thing, and then we'll call this. That one was on your sun, right? Yeah. Yeah. So like having like child on your sun, I mean, like I already talked about inner child, right? So it's just yeah, just being very connected to that and to being able to express your inner child. Um, but like yeah, just like a lot of effort required to kind of like sort of pinpoint, you know, what issues um what am I trying to say? Like yeah, just like a lot, like just like a lot of effort that's needed to kind of like pinpoint what, you know, issues there are in respect to your inner child healing. um so yeah, even like child is like you know, like I, the way I do things is like I tell people about these things, and then in the follow-up I, you know, I get to hear how they feel about it. So you know, there's some asteroids where I'm like, all right, yeah, like big time. But other ones where I, if I don't hear feedback from people like, oh, that was on point, then, you know, what am I supposed to think? Because yeah, astrology is endless. It's literally endless. And like I said, it's really, really important to not, in my opinion, to not fall victim to the a million different things in the natal chart, because I'm already at what, 2 hours and 18 minutes. So imagine if I just went like with every fucking asteroid possible. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it would, yeah, it would just speak to like the importance of childhood, um and just kind of like refining your inner child, or finding your inner child and focusing on that. If I'm looking for something. Yeah. But like the fact that it's in the 12th with the sun, yeah, I mean that could just speak to like, yeah, the importance of you doing inner child work, and really with everything else I saw, really kind of going deep into, like with that third house, it's quite difficult, right? And um, just find like really just finding that authentic self at the end of the day. All right. Well, last things. And yeah, even like Jupiter squaring the ascendant, like that could also be with like that love theme of yeah, just so important to take things slow in that area of life and to not jump on to and I've seen that so many times in the chart, to not just like jump onto something without really giving it time. And yeah. Oh, okay. I'm dead. It's 4:30 a.m., which usually isn't that late for me when I'm in Romania, but here it's fucking late. So amazing reading. Imagine if I didn't hit record. Um, Anyone who stayed the whole live, you guys are legends, or most of it. Um, but yeah, thank you. And yeah, let me know if you want to do if you want to add the current astrology to the follow-up. I highly suggest it. And take your time. You'll have this reading forever. And thank you. Now, this is what was the turnaround time with this? It's got to be a record for me. So you purchased it on the 21st. Damn. Damn. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. What is that? 11, 15, yeah, 2 week turnaround time. Damn. I swear that's a record for me. All right. Well, thank you. And hear from you soon. Ciao, ciao.